We
Hey
are
everybody,
taking
I'm
our time.
Bald Seagull. I single-handedly created the Tetris community.
Yes.
So easy.
That means that you actually watched that episode and you actually know who he is, which is super impressive.
Yep.
Yeah, I did my research.
Man, this guy is a man of so much mystery, so much mystery.
Bald Seagull?
No,
Totally.
not Bald Seagull. Full. Yeah, Bald Seagull, but you.
It's you, man.
You.
Who? Me?
ThorneBrandt.
Well, what do you want to know about? Let me clear up the mystery.
I want to know everything. Well, I don't have time for everything, man.
All right, I'll start at the beginning. In St. Louis, I grew up in a haunted house.
What?
A
For
used
real?
bookstore.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Wait, why? Like, who was haunted about it?
It was like a famous haunted house, like part of like the Spirits of St. Louis haunted tour. Like the Discovery Channel would come and do seances there, use their little ghost box. Also, have you ever played Phasmophobia? Like some of the tools that are used in Phasmophobia, I've seen in person, like the actual tools that they base those interfaces on, like the ghost box, like trying to get voices from a place. I've played with a real one of those.
I love it.
I love it.
I love it. Okay, should we go? Should we start the show?
Got our dinosaur.
Start the show now. Roll credits.
Oh my gosh. It's ThorneBrandt. Finally here. We've done it. It's
Hey everybody, how you guys
Friday,
doing?
March 12th, 2021, 10:14. We're like only like 26 hours late. But hey, we tried yesterday.
We've been messing with the Discord audio settings for 26 hours
Yeah,
straight.
but we got it.
You did it. It only
We
took
got
20
it. Got it.
Twitch is hard, man.
Yeah.
Twitch is freaking hard.
Twitch is. I changed shirts and everything, man. I was wearing a Twitch is hard shirt
Not me.
yesterday. Not
Still
you.
the same outfit.
Love it. But yeah, we're here with ThorneBrandt, who is a. You know what? I don't even know that much about you, except for I stumbled across you on Twitch one day.
You were my first follower.
Are you serious?
Daddy.
What?
I'm pretty
I
sure
was
you
your
were my
first-
first follower.
I was your first
Yeah.
follower?
You were at least my first subscriber.
Yeah.
And what Seagull is to you, you are to me. Like you showed me that there was a Tetris community. You showed me how the countdowns work and those snipe lobbies. I think you got me the
I got the echo.
puddle bot.
Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, you really paid that forward. Watching that last interview with Bald Seagull.
Oh, that's awesome. That's really cool to hear. Yeah, I remember it really well. I remember that night really, really well, and I can tell you the more details off stream. But yeah, there's you introduced me to a lot of things, including COVID. You told me I found out about COVID through you because I was it was that night. It was my birthday.
I think
I
it
was
was
at my
early
parents'
February.
house. I was up. Yeah, it was February 2000. I had just turned 40, and I was with my parents, celebrating my birthday, and staying up really late with them. And I couldn't sleep. And I'm watching you play Tetris, and I just played with you all night. And you told me, hey, there's like this thing called COVID. And I was like, what the heck is COVID? And yeah, you're the one who kind of introduced me to it. And yeah, that will always be a memory that I have of how I found out about COVID was ThorneBrandt. How cool is that?
Yeah,
How
you heard
great.
it here. You heard it here first, folks. You can come to my channel for breaking news before it becomes a global disaster.
A century-worthy pandemic. Heard first with ThorneBrandt.
Yeah, so I think I know that I had an echo before, and I'll go ahead and I can click it now, and that echo is probably going to be back right now. Just I'm telling you, and then now I can turn it back off. So I think the echo should be gone now. That should be resolved. If not,
Okay, cool.
let me know. So the story
Yeah,
there is
also
go
storming
ahead.
the Capitol. I told you about that too.
Yeah, you also told me about the Capitol, the storming of the Capitol on January. That was a big date, 11th or whatever, something like that.
Yeah, that was happening during one of my regular work streams where I'm trying to work on art, but I was too distracted
Yeah.
by the fact that there was like a riot going on in the hall, or like they're stealing the podium for the Speaker of the House. I'm like, maybe we'll just watch the news this stream.
God, that's so wild. So you're basically like the weekend update for Daddy-O.
Exactly.
Congratulations.
Yeah, pretty much.
Exactly.
Hope you feel honored. Well, I mean, I met you because one day Daddy was like, yo, go into the stream. I'm hanging out in there. And I was like, okay. And yeah, I want to know more about you because you're probably one of the more unique streams that are always a little different every single time. So I think people will be interested to hear how you came to be, if you will. So shall we begin?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, yeah, let's start the show. Yeah.
We already did that. Okay. No.
Hello.
Just in
Hi,
case.
welcome to Tell Me More.
Oh man.
In
God,
this show, we do a deep dive into any topic that comes across our desk.
Let's dive. Well, like honestly, I could just hear you talk random facts for an hour because I feel like that's most of your streams. And it's always fascinating. And I'm like, all right. So
I got
Oh yeah,
you.
I have
got
I
you.
have a channel redemption where you can ask me to look up a topic on the fly, research a topic. So I'll do some quick searching live on the stream, and then I'll give like a PowerPoint presentation on it, pretty much.
how much information do you get on it before you like try to converse about it?
Oh, I'll do it live. So I'll try to just be riffing on what it is before I know completely about it, and then it'll start to become more inaccurate as time goes on. And
Have you ever done
oh, that's
improv?
interesting. And I'll just go on a rabbit hole basically
I love
live.
this.
For
Can we? Okay, let's close the show with that. Can we do that? Let's close the show with a challenge. So
sure.
I'm gonna start to think of some different ideas.
All right, cool.
And then if people have ideas, maybe we can look at them in chat as they come up. And then we'll just, at the end of the show, we'll just give you a random topic and have you give a presentation on it. Does that work?
Sure, we can do that.
Hell yeah, I love it.
I'm very excited.
So what I want to know is just tell me a little bit about you. So like, give me your Thorne elevator pitch. Like, so all I know you from is just sort of those random, really important moments in my life. But I don't know anything. Like, I know that you can like do some cool development and make art, and it's really awesome. But you live in the Chicago area.
The reason, I mean, I started on a different channel on Twitch for the venue that I live at to kind of host new media and interactive performance art that happens at this art space that I live at. And other people that perform there kind of showed me how to use Twitch, and we usually just broadcast a show when it's happening. And since the pandemic, we've used that channel to make some online-only shows. But that channel is Dad Chicago, by the way. But yeah, then I wanted to make a personal channel because I'm really into indie games, and I wanted to show like local stuff that people are working on, like students that go to SAIC or have like game creating classes, and I wanted to show some of the new stuff that's being created there and lesser known games. I think one of the first games that I streamed was like a 1994 text adventure game that I remember loving as a kid, and I downloaded from America Online, and just trying to do a let's play of that. And I also wanted to show my workflow for the audiovisual animation stuff that I do for me. That's the main reason for it. So it's super variety stream. I mean,
Yeah.
and yeah, usually working during the week and then playing games on the weekend.
But you like you have some like really unique stuff. One of my favorite things, and something that I always show my friends. I'm like, man, check this out. when I go into your stream for the first time and say something, I get this custom animation. And it says slides into the chat, and it has this picture of me in a robe and sunglasses, and it's incredible. Tell me about what the heck, man? It's amazing.
Do you have a clip of that? Can we show the clip?
Do you have it? man, God dang it! Better. One of these days, I'll be better. That's a good idea.
Okay. Oh yeah, I was going. Oh, never mind. I was gonna just show, install the app temporarily on your channel so that you could use it. Yeah.
Oh man, that would have been cool.
But yeah, that's another thing that I'm trying to do on the channel is try to be as interactive as I can. So I'm building my own Twitch app that is responsive to the chat. I guess the end goal is for it to be as chaotic as possible, because I'm into that more sensory overload.
I love
aesthetic.
it. We actually had I try to do stuff like that in mine, and Lex actually had an idea to do one where it was just like a crazy, where everything would just happen at once.
Yeah,
kind of like this.
Yeah, I love that. That's it. Yeah,
yeah, it was pretty fun.
That looks so cool.
Oh boy, story time with the
Yeah, well, that's just like.
That was the last episode, right? They were in jail.
RJ,
It's a lot.
So what? So this is like a. How are you? Are you just triggering that with your keyboard, or is it?
No, I use an app called the ThorneBrandt.
Okay. So you're using Stream Deck?
Hmm?
Yeah, I think you told me about it. You were like, bro, why are you making an app? It exists already.
God damn.
And I was like, it's not about the app. It's about building
the experience, man. No, I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. Yeah, so I use an app called Leor. It's not super intuitive to set up. It's a bit overwhelming, but if you have someone coach you through it, then it's not so bad. So I'm gonna help Lex get her set up, because what it allows you to do is it's basically a Stream Deck replacement. I have my wife got me a Stream Deck, which is awesome.
Yeah, I love the Stream Deck.
But it's
I love that it uses it helps you use any other program, not just streaming.
Right. Yeah, it's great. And I use it for home control too, so I can do things like turn off my lights and things like that.
Cool.
But then the problem with Stream Deck is you can't trigger those through chat or through Twitch. You know what I mean? Or I haven't figured out. There's no intuitive way to say I can hit this button and I can press this button to change a scene or to do a thing.
Right.
But I can't have chat do that. So
yeah.
What ThorneBrandt is free, and it lets you. It's a Stream Deck replacement, and it allows Twitch interactions to trigger those actions. So you can have chat. It just monitors chat, and it can monitor any channel. So I can monitor Lex's channel, and if Lex types something on her channel, I can have it trigger something on this channel, or whatever,
nice. Which
is pretty cool. It's all just and it can do lots and lots of things. So and that's free. But it's a little bit overwhelming to use and to set up, so I'm going to help her get it set up. But anyways, that's what I use for some of my stuff, but you can take it a step further, because I think what you're doing is since it's all customizable, you can just take it wherever your mind wants, which is absolutely amazing. Yeah. I'd love to be there someday.
Yeah, I can pretty much, I can use any kind of logic that you would be able to think of that's powered by chat. I could even play a slow game of Tetris powered by the chat. Like everybody types move left, move right, switch.
A really slow game of Tetris.
Or fast. I don't know how fast.
That's amazing. Oh, you got the first walk on here. Let me show it.
Oh yeah, whoops.
Amazing.
So the final form of this show is a podcast. So if I'm sorry, did you hear that that engine burnout? There's like drag races going on.
No, we can't. I didn't hear it. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and just you're not on the screen. I'm just gonna play this real quick.
Oh, hey,
I
Daddy,
look
here.
like 10 years younger.
Yo, what's up?
What?
Do we miss the beginning? I think it's right.
Oh, there it is.
Like Coolsville, Daddy-O.
I need to walk on.
Yeah, you do need to walk.
Hey,
on.
Daddy,
What would you want it to be?
Should involve a corgi. I
So
think.
amazing.
Yo, what's
Corgis?
up?
That's easy.
Corgi. Something
I
about
got a whole
corgi.
folder of corgis.
Thank you for sending that, Big Dumb Home Energy. That's amazing.
Whole folder of corgis. Okay, so when you say that you live in an art studio?
Yeah,
What do you mean?
It's kind of like a studio. It's just like a big loft, and it has like a stage and a projection screen and
You've
a lot of
been
things.
involved in theater?
Adjacently, not directly, but yeah, we've had theater stuff here.
How did you get involved in that? Are you from Chicago?
I've been here enough that I can say I'm from Chicago, but
Fair.
yeah, I came here for SAIC, or the Art Institute of Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Oh, I could ask a million questions about that. How
Sure.
is it there?
How is it? What?
How is it there? Is it amazing?
It's actually, I feel like I was, I might have weird opinions about it. I feel like I was tricked into going there
Oh, tell me
by a
more.
recruiter. Like,
Oh, yeah.
so I was like a digital artist, like really early, like 10 years old, like making, point and click mist like games on HyperCard and Hyper Studio and stuff. And I was selling these on America Online for like $2. And I was doing this when I was a kid, and then like making a lot of progress doing it. Like people were like sending me checks to like send them the second half of a video game that I worked on. And I was showing it to teachers in high school, and they were like, yeah, this is like a fun hobby that you have, but you should really like focus on like figure drawing, because this isn't going anywhere. Like this isn't real, and you really need to like work on art objects.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then like these recruiters just like kept showing up anytime I was in an art class. Somebody would come with like a presentation, and they'd be like, "Hey, do you like Pixar? Do you want to work for Pixar? If you want to work for Pixar, you should apply to the school, and they'll pretty much hire you right away." And I was like, "Okay, yeah, let's do that."
Amazing.
And
Incredible.
Spoiler
And then-
alert.
And then they'll say things like, "We reviewed your portfolio, and you have gotten a full ride scholarship." And I was like, "Wow, that's amazing. Sign me up. Let's
Yep.
go." And then, there's fine print like, "Oh, that's only for the first year." But then there's like a second scholarship that you can get based on the first year program. And that's for the rest of the years. And then I would get that too. Like I would get every merit-based scholarship there was, but then I still end up owing like $100,000
What?
to this
Seriously?
school.
What?
Yeah.
Is it really?
And also when I get there, you learn things like they pretty much have a 99% acceptance rate. And it's just kind of like churning through all of these foreign exchange students because they pay full price. And so it's a lot of like really wealthy people who just wanted to go to a school that didn't have grades, because there's no grades there. And so it's like just pass fail. And it's just so much, it's just like prestige. It's just like a prestigious thing to put on your
Right.
resume. I mean, it's still a cool place. They have cool toys, but I don't know if it really teaches anything.
Right.
A lot of the classes were about how to bullshit, and they were very anti-skill, anti like learning trade. Like anytime something was like entertaining, they would like critique it. Like, this is a little too like entertaining. Maybe you want like to be more obtuse. It would be respected more.
Interesting. So recommend or no?
Oh, definitely do not recommend, especially now. Yeah, 0% recommendation.
Yeah.
Wait, Pixar didn't call?
Pixar didn't call. No.
Hmm.
No. There's absolutely zero job placement programs of any kind. Probably the opposite of that.
For artists, shocking.
Yeah. So yeah, while I was there, you know, while starting to realize that, I started to panic a little bit and started making, just started getting into development to like put my own portfolio online for animation. Because I came there as like, I don't know, on a painting portfolio, but still wanted to make video games. So I was in the wrong place for that. So I just started to do it on my own. And that's how I learned development. And then that would get me a job right away because everybody needed their website made.
Is that what you still do today?
What?
Is that what you're still doing today?
Yeah, I'm trying not to, but yeah, everybody still needs development all the time. And I had a lot of success working corporate gigs, and I actually found them to be more conducive to creativity than art school was, which might sound weird, but yeah, I just felt like my like humanity was more respected in the corporate environment. I don't know how to explain that. It was like being in I would have to fill in a role of like a creative director that left, and it felt like I had more creative control, and it was and the art that I made was respected as art when I made it. And I also think people don't really realize how creative programming is,
Right.
Especially because you're just kind of like building robots that solve problems, and that's a really creative act. You kind of like build tools that create other tools, and you're like making little microcosms. Especially game development, you're like making universes. So it's like every single medium of art.
I like that.
What a good way to put it.
Yeah, I put in my notes professional freelancer. Would that be an accurate representation of what's going on?
I'm just kind of like a generalist right now. I'm freelancing for now, yeah. But my day job has been like JavaScript engineer, full stack.
Oh, God. My nightmare. Do you know like because you know every single code ever, right? That's right.
No,
do you
I
want
wouldn't
me
say that.
on that instead of me just being like, yeah, you know things, right? What do you know? Teach us.
No, yeah, I think that I don't know who said that. That's a joke. I don't know every single.
I think I said it.
Okay. But I mean, a lot of languages, once you kind of get the premise of how to talk to a computer with JavaScript, you'll have better luck learning how to talk to it with C# or Python or Ruby, or it's just different syntax for a lot of that. And until you get into more base level languages, C++ would probably be in between those, and you would have to do more things like memory management, which is like part of the vocabulary you don't really need to know in a higher level language, where you're just kind of giving it logic, like loops and
clip that.
Is anything I say Does,
What's that face that Lex
does
just
any
made?
of that make sense? So like
That face that
no.
Lex just made
Ja-
is
so
that's
JavaScript
got
is
to
probably an
be
example of, like,
a GIF.
there's languages that are like closer to human languages, but they're still like technical. And then there's way deeper down, like until you get to like binary, and there's
Yeah.
languages in between that.
So
So JavaScript and Python are like nearly human language.
Mm-hmm.
right.
And
So
then
what
there's
would you
frameworks
say?
on top of that to make it even closer to human language. What?
What would you say for somebody who doesn't know any languages? Where do you start? What's day one?
How do I talk to someone who knows no languages? Do I use gestures? I just like point. I point and grunt.
Someone who doesn't know computers.
Oh,
Oh, I'm done.
how do I? So
What are you trying to do?
Uh,
Depending on what are you trying to do, Lex?
right, that's what I would ask is to do what? What's the goal?
Are you wanting a job in technical stuff?
Yeah, maybe somebody. Maybe I want to be a programmer.
So my
Wait,
advice
Do they
for
want
anyone
to get paid, or do they want to? Are they looking for a career, or are they looking to create something that they have an
What?
idea of?
Let's call it wanting to make money, like wanting to profit off of this skill.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, I would first. They need to learn how to, how to think like a programmer, and that involves like a, probably just a tutorial on Python. There's one that I recommend to beginners called "How to Think Like a Computer Scientist," and it's based on Python. And it'll teach you all like the common things that are shared among most languages, such as how variables work. A lot of it is just kind of like algebra, but with robot instructions is a good way to think about programming languages. Is algebra, you have a variable that is x, and that represents something, and that something could be coming in from another source, another input, like the mouse position, for example. So your cursor on your screen is a program that's taking in the amount that your hand moved, and it's spitting it back out as a number of pixels, left and top. So that's one example. So that's a good place to start. And then once they get that, I would recommend, I think everyone's always looking for JavaScript. It depends if they have a visual background or not. I'd say get into the front end, which is more of user interface design than if they're more like left brain math oriented, they should probably get into more of the database design, which is the back end, and that would be MySQL, which is just like a database language, or stick with Python and things like that.
And then what about somebody who wants to make art with it? What would step one be?
Oh, I would, if you want to make art with it, I would say there's a program called Touch Designer, and that is like almost completely visual, and it's node based, which means it's just these little boxes that you connect together with wires, and it's kind of like building Legos. And you can get deep into one of those Legos and program into it.
Deep
but
into it.
It's a very like one-to-one, like fast response. It's free. There's a lot of good examples that it comes with. I'd say that's a really good tool for artists to create things like interactive installations. I'd also, if they were more interested in games, I would say pick up Unity or Unreal. And that's what I would work on most of the time on my stream. And the reason I would recommend a game engine is that it gives you a lot of feedback, and it gives you visual feedback. Like if you do something wrong, at least you're seeing something happen on the screen. At least you're seeing something. Like the mistakes are very enjoyable, I guess is how I would put it.
It makes sense.
I like that. The mistakes are enjoyable. Sign me up.
Happy
I'm
accidents, which is it's imperative for art to have happy accidents. I feel like 90% of breakthroughs in the history of art have been happy accidents.
That's very Bob Ross of you.
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah, it's clip-worthy for sure. And maybe even shirt-worthy.
Clip-worthy. Let's see. So how we kind of know how you got into Twitch. So you have 2 pages, correct?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And
Dad Chicago and ThorneBrandt.
how'd you come up with your name, may I ask? Because I always accidentally call you Rembrandt, and it's getting annoying.
Oh, my screen name?
Yeah.
It is my name. This is just my name. You look like you don't believe me.
I kind of do. That's why I'm confused. Because I kind of believe you. I shouldn't.
There's nothing anything. I'm not trying to be clever. It's not a reference to anything. It's just the name on my birth certificate.
I'm just gonna let it go there.
Okay.
Period.
It is a Thorne. I haven't heard the name. It is a rare name.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know the complete story, but my mom said it was something my dad came up with, and apparently it was a video game that he was working on, like some kind of sci-fi text adventure.
Oh, this
like
is
a character.
genetic.
What?
Is this genetic? What you do? Is it your dad into visual arts too?
Yeah. Weirdly, I don't currently. I'm not in contact with my dad, but apparently we do. He was a gamer and he was a programmer. So it's
there
totally
you go.
genetic. Yeah.
Oh,
So,
that's wild.
Yeah.
Huh. Let's see.
Huge.
What-
The belief in free will takes a huge hit there, if I think about it from that angle.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I want to talk some deep stuff with you. 'Cause I feel like it doesn't have to be deep. Okay, no, hold on. I gotta know your answer to the Dolphins versus Chinese. So, just to level set for nobody else was here for that.
So you ask a question to every guest, and this is your question. Would you rather speak
No.
to?
No.
Oh, you say it. I don't know.
No, this is just you were there that night and you had an opinion, and I want to hear it.
Oh, true.
Actually, you know what? I'm not. Do you mind if I detour next? I'm gonna detour for a second and tell a story.
I'm all about the detour.
So my son is 15. I have 2 sons. My older one is 15, and he's super into languages and very, very worldly and always blah, blah, blah. So we're having and he very much would love to learn any kind of language, but of any language, he'd love to learn Chinese because he's just fascinated by the complexity of it, how many people know it, blah, blah, blah. So I asked him, okay, well, would you rather be able to know Chinese or be able to talk to animals? Well, how does that work? Because then I'm going to be speaking like millions of different languages, because there's maybe not millions, but hundreds of different languages, because cats and dogs don't speak to each other. They must have their own language. So I'm going to be able to speak meow and bark. And
What about the ones that hang out like a cat and a
right? That's my point. I'm like, well, in cartoons they can talk to each other, and he's like, well, those are cartoons. This is real life. Well, no, it's not. Yeah, I agree with you, Thorne. I think if you can talk to any animal, you can talk to all of them. That's how Dr. Dolittle is, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, we agree. Actually, okay, then that's the case. Then if you had to just pick one animal to talk to, just like I'm saying, you can only speak one language.
That's a different question.
What animal would you want to talk to?
That's a different question. I don't actually think dolphins would be interesting to talk to, because I saw a picture of their brain recently, and it's bigger than ours, but it's also split down the middle. And I also heard that the reason that they have such big brains, which is the reason why we think they're smart, or one of the big reasons, is because they need it to be big enough to retain oxygen longer, since they're holding their breath for so long. But the split brain thing is a bigger impediment, because it means that they're not. It means that they basically have split personalities. Because you know that we have this hemisphere in our brain, and you're able to cut it in and still survive, which is something that they did, I think, starting in the 70s, from people who had epileptic seizures. They were noticing that there was some activity in both of the hemispheres, and if they severed the link in between the hemispheres, they were less likely to continue having this feedback loop of epileptic seizures. But then they noticed that their personality became really strange, and half of if they had a way to isolate one of the hemispheres by like numbing the other one. This is a huge tangent.
No, please. I love it.
We
Go.
can come back to this. What animal would I want to speak to?
No, keep going. Tell me about the dolphins.
Definitely a cat.
A cat. But what about, okay, a cat. All a cat is going to say is food.
That's true.
Food.
That's true.
Pet
That's
me,
what all
pet me, food, sleep. I don't know if that cat would tell you anything worthwhile.
Who is going? I mean, the dolphin's gonna say the same thing, but he's gonna say,
I don't know, man. I think no. Okay, here's the deal with it. I thought maybe you might be familiar with this this study on dolphins and human connection done in the 70s or the 60s with the psychedelics. Are you familiar with this?
yeah.
So
It was funded.
yeah. So there's basically they formed a human connection between a dolphin and a human that was real enough so that when they became separated, the dolphin committed suicide.
Yeah, but do you know how that experiment ended?
Was the dolphin committed suicide? Or tell me more. Or what else?
No, they had to do it because they had to end it because the dolphin kept wanting to be jerked off.
Yes. And people found out, and they
found out,
and they canceled it, and then they separated them, and the dolphin was so depressed.
Is that in Drunk History?
Was it? I didn't. I saw it on Reddit.
Oh, right. So yeah, that's another reason I don't want to talk to dolphins, is I think they're super perverted. They're not only perverted, but like sexually aggressive. Like they're one of the only species besides humans that commit rape and sexual assault, not only on themselves, their own species, but other species.
So you pick a cat?
Why you want to talk to them?
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. What about a monkey then? Would it be a chimpanzee? You would still pick a cat? A cat, I think, would offer me nothing.
That's a good answer. Yeah. Maybe a bonobo.
A what?
Or bonobo.
What's that?
What's that?
It's adjacent to it. It's another primate. It's the other primate that. Never mind.
Okay, so
It's like that.
would you rather be able to talk to animals or speak Chinese?
Oh, 100% Chinese.
You would pick Chinese. Why?
Because they. Well. I mean, we were just talking about the reasons. The majority of animals are just gonna talk about survival,
Sure.
or food, or
Sure.
like, what do you think? An animal hasn't taken a philosophy course. What are you gonna talk to them about? Do you like talking to infants? But
These are all fair
it's interesting to talk to well, I'd say Chinese is a really interesting language because if you learn it from an early age, it changes the way that you hear music, for one thing. It also changes the way that you perceive time.
Mm-hmm.
They have a different verb structure. Like we need a subject and an object and a verb, and Chinese sentence structure doesn't always involve that. It can just be talking about things that are eternal more often. It's very kind of like non-linear. And also more Chinese people have perfect pitch than any other culture because the same syllable with different pitches will have different meanings. So I would love to be able to understand that.
Yeah, those are all you and my son are give the same thing. At least all of those are
really?
very, very valid reasons. But
like animals though. That I think I could learn Chinese. But I feel like
which Chinese is also a good question,
Yeah.
is it?
So I'm gonna offer my counterpoint here and say
Sorry, I was looking at
there's a billion or more people that know Chinese. And so what you're saying is you're going to use your one wish to be one of a billion. I would rather use my one wish to be one of one.
Why? It'd be so alienating.
No way, man. I'm the only person that in the world like me. Now I have this service that I can charge whatever rate I want.
Oh, that is true. I didn't think about the service. You would be the best cat whisperer. or dog.
Whatever rate I want, man. You know how many people are going to be willing to give me whatever the hell I want to tell them what is wrong with my cat, or what?
But
That's true.
Here, people, if you're the only one, people might just think you're crazy.
Until I prove them wrong. Yeah, you think I'm crazy until I tell you that your cat is upset because he ate your whatever, and then whatever. You know what I mean? I would be able to trust me. Trust me.
That's a good
I
point.
agree. I would pick animals.
That's a good point. But I think it only makes sense in terms of like a circus or like being able to do tricks with it. One's a party trick and the other one is actually has utility.
I can't
But you
believe
can make money off of party tricks, so that also has utility.
Yeah. I guess there's no right answer.
There's no right answer. Okay, another one for you. What Harry Potter house are you doing? Harry Potter. What sorting hat are you? Do you know? You're a Harry Potter guy.
So yeah, my mom owns a bookstore, so I had to know enough about Harry Potter in order to like set up decorations and stuff for the release parties. But I don't really know what the difference between the houses is. I guess one's evil and one's
Never mind.
hero protagonist.
That doesn't matter.
And
I
one's
thought I
weird
read that
and
on
one's
your
nerdy.
profile.
Is that what it is?
Forget it.
I'm the weird
Forget
one. I'm the weird one.
The weird one.
What's the weird one? Hufflepuff?
Mm-hmm.
Hey.
Why? How am I offending anyone by saying that?
You're not.
You're not. It's all
Isn't that the categories? Evil, hero, nerdy,
Smart.
weird.
Yeah.
Such a diminishing, belittling description.
Well, tell me more, Daddy-O. Tell me more.
It's like Tetris. Isn't that the game where you like stack blocks and they disappear? Yeah, man. It's that game.
That's true. There's also T-spins. So what about
It doesn't matter.
What's nuanced about the houses? Why are we talking about this?
It doesn't matter. Moving on.
Yeah.
Let's talk about COVID.
J.K. Rowling is canceled too, so
Yeah. That's the whole thing.
COVID. You asked me about what COVID was like in Texas because you thought it was the Wild Wild West down here.
no, it's just because the internet. Because I would see memes of walking into a restaurant and there would be like, I don't know, like the whole room. There's just like photos of an entire room looking at the camera in disgust. And they would say, when you walk into a restaurant wearing a mask in the South.
Okay, I'll give you a rundown. When COVID first hit, we were delayed. So basically, the way I consider it, like those first 3 to 4 weeks, in March, so like basically from March to May or March to April, I kind of give people a pass because people were just on different timelines. So when I would go visit friends or family who were or talk to friends and family who were in the city versus in the suburbs versus in the country, their attitude towards COVID was directly proportional to how close they were to the city. And it had very little else to do with it than that. A lot of it, but generally speaking. And I noticed that as the further I got away from the city, the more people were in masks, because it's not because, it could be because they're wrong, but it could also be because they're right. Because they're right in their own world. Because in their own world, when they look around and they see all these people saying COVID like was killing all these people, and all they see is every lockdown this. I remember this is way back a year ago. This is all still new. And in the country, you're like, what the hell are you talking about, man? There's nothing happening. And when you come from the city and you wear a mask to a place in the country where it's not normal, yeah, people look at you weird because like, who is this city boy? Who is this guy thinking he's better than us? And that's true. And I did have experiences like that.
Wait, what's true?
That was true about a year ago, about even 11, 12 months ago when I live in the suburbs. So for me, I'm kind of a mix of city and country, but my family, I grew up in the country. I grew up with cows and horses and all that stuff. So when I visit my family's like, what the hell, man? Why are you wearing a mask? Because I was the only one wearing a mask. Nobody wears a mask out there because why would they? It's like COVID's not real out here, because at that point it wasn't real yet. They were just delayed.
Yeah,
they were
I
just
guess
delayed.
That it was seen as demasculating, or it was like.
Well, so my defense of it is that they were absolutely right from their perspective, because if you take a second and say, okay, I'm coming here from my reality is everyone wears masks, but their reality is no one wears masks. And when they see these things it's like, what the hell are you even talking about? But then eventually it gets there, and eventually it just because if you think about where we were when it first hit, we wouldn't have thought there's no way I wear a mask every day. But within 3 weeks, what were we doing? Wearing masks every day. Like, things change, but people are just on different timelines. So yes, I think that timeline was just delayed out to the south, and I don't think it's not the wild west. I don't think that people make it out to be. Lex, what do you think?
Well,
Lex just got here. Lex got here from Phoenix. She got here a week ago.
I drove in the day they said that they were going to stop the mask mandate in Texas. And I was like, oh, great. Awesome. But so far, everything has been good except that one experience. We went to brunch and we sat down and looked around us, and every table was full. And we were so close to people. And I was like, oh, it's real. And you were like, I know a place. And we got up and we left. And I'm like, I cannot believe all those people are happily sitting there eating their scrambled eggs that close to each other. Like, what have we been doing for here?
Yeah, we saw a lot of footage from beaches there too, and music festivals in Texas, I think, and Florida mostly.
Most places, there's like maybe like the one or two people who are like, heck yeah, free at last, no more masks. But everyone else is pretty good. Then there was that experience, and I was like, oh my Lord. So but I don't know.
I mean, I feel like that people were still wearing masks there, or were they not?
Yeah, you wear a mask and then once you sit down at your table to eat, you take the mask off.
Right, because you need to put food in your mouth.
Right. Right. But I mean, but once you're sitting, you don't wait. But generally speaking, people don't wait to eat to take the mask off. You just take it off until you get to your seat, and you just sit down and take your mask off. So, but I would say that I would say that 80 to 90% of the people before this week were wearing their mask anywhere you go. And yet, if you were to see the media, you would think it was the opposite.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, it's been
Wait,
interesting.
what do you mean? The media
because you were like,
is,
just like you said, based on you would see these memes making it sound like no
Yeah,
one wear
that's
masks in
not the
Texas.
media.
Okay, well, okay, good point.
And
Fair point.
I mean, I get your point about how it took there was a delayed effect there, especially because it's warmer there, so really less people were flooding the hospitals earlier. But I think that reaction comes from before there's a culture for wearing masks. If you're the only one that wears a mask in a location, then you're seen as kind of like a leper, or you're seen as I'm wearing this mask because I'm carrying a disease, not which is like the opposite of what it represents now. So that's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Seeing Texas has made it seem like the whole year was discounted in a weird way. It's like, what have we not learned? Yeah, anything from this? So it's been interesting for sure, but it's not as bad as I thought it would be.
Oh, okay.
And brunch.
Like, but at this point, no one's gonna like make fun of someone else for wearing a mask.
So far, yes. So far. I think it's more 80% are still wearing masks, and then there's the couple who,
Because there was that whole Joe Rogan thing where he like compared it to being a soy boy wearing a mask, even though apparently he was joking, but a lot of people used that as like it became part of agriculture. Or agriculture always has a sense of self-destruction in it or recklessness, and so wearing a mask became associated with femininity in a toxic way.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm from Phoenix, so it's kind of the same as Texas. It's very similar, but I have a lot of friends in Chicago, and I feel like they took it way more seriously than Texas or Arizona did. Like, they didn't. I think my friend who works at a pizza place, the concept of dine in was just foreign for a long time. Is that correct over there?
Yeah. That's been loosening up a little bit though. But
see, for me, it never closed. It was never not dine in. So,
oh, really? No.
Yeah.
Restaurants were completely shut down for I don't know, a couple months. And then mostly it was, and then when it was lifted, it's like outdoor dining. But since it's so cold, no one wants to do that anymore. So the restaurants will be open for takeout. There's a lot of takeout services.
Yeah.
Restaurants that never did takeout before. So another silver lining. You want to talk about the silver linings?
There's lots.
Yeah,
there is
a lot.
Yeah. I think we've really proven that we're able to work a 9 to 5 at home.
Yeah.
That's the best one that I know of. Because that was always something that was really important to me when I was looking for gigs and jobs. Is it was kind of a canary in the coal mine for me when I'm searching for which job will be compatible, or it was like a sign of like a healthy management style they had if they didn't actually care if I was warming a desk, but just cared if I got the projects done.
Yeah.
Right.
I'd be like, this is a healthy work environment.
Right.
But if they're like, if I'm like, sometimes I like to work at 3 a.m. Sometimes my best work gets done at 3 a.m. and they're like, what the hell? And I'm like, maybe it's not the best place to work at.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. Moonbeam, you want to talk about what? You want to talk about the silver linings of COVID? Man, I could talk about lots.
I mean, I have a big question that I thought was funny from our test stream the other day. My big one was, what's got you arguing on Twitter?
Oh my gosh,
today?
yes.
Oh man, that's another rabbit hole.
Question, because how loaded could that be? I
started arguing on Twitter again recently.
Hold on, Lex. We gotta. Chat wants a couple of. Let's give them three. Each, one person each, give a silver lining of COVID before we move on.
Oh yeah, that's a good thing to do.
Ooh, that's good. Something
And we've
of
already
value.
said work from home. So I'm going to say for me, it is,
More deliveries is what we said before.
I'm going to say more time. I think people have spent more time on relationships that matter more. So I think we've reduced our number of relationships and invested more in them. It's my
like that.
personal hope that more people have gotten to do that.
Is there another side of the coin to that? Because isn't there a record number of divorces happening this year too? Because people are actually have to spend time together. But I guess that might be a good thing if
Right.
you're with the wrong person.
Agree.
Yeah.
Agree.
That-
Why not get it up? Why not come to terms?
Yeah, my silver lining is it forced people to slow down and look at themselves.
Yeah.
Stop working, 400 hours a week and see themselves in slow motion and, adjust.
Swerving says government payments.
When we get them.
Yeah, when we get
very
them.
soon. Very soon.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So now, Lex, let's talk about NFTs. Let's go. So here's Thorne. I got a pack. I got a NBA Top Shot just because I hear the guys. I hear them talking about it on the radio from a sports perspective, not from an NFT technology perspective. From like a sports trading card, I think, oh, that's cool because they're actually worth real money. It seems like a no-lose situation. So I bought one. And a friend bought one. We have a couple. We're gonna open them on stream tomorrow. It should be fun. But you actually understand it from a technology standpoint.
You just got the pack.
I have the pack.
So you haven't opened it yet.
We haven't opened it yet.
I was gonna ask you if you were able to share it with me because, I'm fascinated with what it own an NFT and how you show it off.
Yeah, I don't know anything about it, so we'll find out tomorrow.
Yeah, I got it. Yeah. I own the color green. Want to see it?
Yeah, so explain it to me. Explain to me the technology as you understand it. Like, what is an NFT?
So to understand that, you have to know how crypto and blockchain technology works, which is not easy to explain.
Okay, well, I actually have like a Bitcoin, I think.
We go into this. What?
I have a Bitcoin, I think.
You have a Bitcoin, you think?
Mm-hmm.
You
Yeah.
think?
I'm not sure.
Think you have a Bitcoin?
You have a crypto wallet?
Mm-hmm.
Is that how you bought the NBA token?
No.
Or card pack? How did they frame it? Because when I looked up the NBA Top Shop or whatever, Top Shot, it doesn't actually call it an NFT.
No, so I got two things to catch up. So a long time ago, when Bitcoin was probably so this is 2016. I downloaded an app and put a little bit of money into some Bitcoin thing, but then the other thing is, and then I forgot about it. So I have that's somewhere. I have like a couple $100 back in 2016, so it might be worth a little bit. It might not be a whole Bitcoin.
That's going to be a lot of money.
But then I have another. I worked with Bob Blue, who was a guest on the show. He made a bot. He made a Bitcoin bot, and I gave him a couple $100 to mess around with that back in 2016. And I think we have maybe a little bit of money there. He said it's not a ton of money, but it's something. But that was a few months ago, so I have no idea. So I have a little bit of money in it, not a ton, maybe $1,000 or so. I have no idea. So I intentionally don't look because maybe it's something, maybe it's not. But then these NBA cards, I just bought. I have a pack. My friend has a pack. We're gonna open them. So that's that one. But I don't know much about Bitcoins and exactly how it works beyond just I invested a little bit of money.
Yeah. So what prompted you to do that?
Just Reddit. People hype. Just like, oh, what's this crazy Bitcoin thing? What is it? And I would download the
Might as well.
Coinbase is what it was. I downloaded Coinbase and put like $100 in it.
Yeah.
And then it went way down. I think I lost a lot of money on it, and then whatever. I never sold it though.
Interesting.
Oh.
The chat says, "Dude, check it. You're rich."
I don't think I'm rich.
Also, Swervin is asking what NFTs are. So that stands for non-fungible token, and fungibility is the ability to exchange one thing for another as if it's identical. So if I have $1, I can take it to the currency exchange get 4 coins, get 4 pieces of art made out of metal, but
What?
Uh-oh. Oh, no.
No.
Twitch is
No. Which is hard.
can change it.
Okay.
Who's frozen?
You're okay, you're back now. You're back. Can you repeat?
back.
What'd
Can
you
you,
hear?
can
What'd
you
you hear?
repeat through the last 30 seconds?
Yeah, sure. Fungibility is replaceability. So I'm able to take $1, which is art printed on a piece of paper, maybe with the hologram, but it represents $1, and I can take it to the currency exchange, change it for 4 pieces of metal, take those pieces of metal, exchange them back for $1. It's a different dollar, but it represents the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's fungibility, and that's what most cryptocurrency is fungible.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't really matter which Bitcoin you have, even though they have different identities based on the blockchain, but it doesn't matter which one you have. It is as when you get it, right?
20%. I get it, 20%.
Fungibility.
No, yeah, I
10%.
get fungibility. Yes, I get that. Yeah.
Oh, okay. But crypto
Crypto is a little bit where it gets like...
crypto is
blockchain?
harder to explain.
Yeah.
How is it valuable? It's like fake money. Every money is fake. But it's been around so long. Even gold is fake. If you think about it, it doesn't actually have a functional. It doesn't have a function besides being shiny and being rare.
Right.
So it looks pretty if you wear it. And I guess that's kind of a utility, but it only looks pretty because it's shiny and it's rare.
Yeah.
And I guess Whole Energy pointed out that it is used in like microchips and stuff. But I don't know. Like you can get gold-plated, like cables, gold-plated HDMI, and that's supposed to be better. But like, that's a pretty new thing, and I also think a lot of that is a scam, because it's shiny and it's rare. But
Yeah.
So
That seems crazy.
so the problem, so people are kind of skeptical of the way that currency works currently because of the history of I don't know, how do you put this? The history of like colonialism and central banking and manipulation of currency and like how does the Fed work? Like the Fed just injected 2.1 trillion into the economy as the pandemic started, and they're gonna essentially at some point burn that money again.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just weird that it's just a small select number of people control that money. So
Right.
so the goal of cryptocurrency was to hedge against that in some way, or provide an alternative by making something that was also shiny and scarce. Maybe not shiny in the sense of actually being able to look at it, but being desirable and scarce. And how would they make something scarce? They invented a type of labor that a GPU would participate in, which is basically like solving a really hard math problem. And that's called proof of work. And proof of work is something that's been around for a while, and it's been used in things like bot detection,
Mm-hmm.
like when you do a CAPTCHA
Mm-hmm.
and like prove that you're human, or like or spam filters,
Mm-hmm.
kind of prevent against brute force attacks by making it making like sending an email to a bunch of people harder than the benefit of spamming people would be. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Lex, you don't
I follow you.
Do you know
Okay,
what,
she's just
Lex,
looking-
do you know what
she-
a brute force attack is?
What?
Do you know what a brute force attack? Oh. Like
I
that-
didn't even idea this.
Do you know
Oh.
how passwords work? Like,
Yeah, sure.
how do they work?
You gotta have one, and it's gotta be complicated. So moving
What
on.
do they do? What do passwords do?
Protect you.
I mean, what do they do on, like, to the whatever you're logging in on?
They stop
How-
you from. Like a
But
key.
it's like, yeah, they're like a key. It's like a key to a lock. It's a good way to explain that. Like you have a unique key, and the ridges on your key are like a password to your lock
Right.
in your house. And so if you imagine a key that is well, imagine your key is like really simple. It's just like a triangle,
Mhm.
and there's only like
start
3 different
recording, so
possible
test.
shapes for a key. Someone could break into your house by inventing every single key and trying them one after the other.
Mhm.
So
I love
that's
how you like had to dumb it down to
That's a brute
shapes.
force attack.
Right.
So, in order to prevent that, there's like a minimum requirement for how complicated a key can be. So it has to now have 100 different ridges on it.
It's a lot of
And
ridges.
so I would have to make 10,000 ridges in order to, I don't know, at minimum, probably way more than that, probably like a trillion, because it's exponentially more complicated for me to try every single type of key. The more complexity you add to it, and so that adds a protection and that's kind of what explains what proof of work is, or why it exists. But it's doing something different than password protection. It's kind of like creating a token that represents the currency. So it and that's like what mining is a computer doing a math problem that's trying to find an answer to a really hard problem that it's not able to brute force, but it's like slowly brute forcing it anyway. That's kind of like a layman's way to describe it.
Mhm.
And that, I guess, is like an artificial way to create scarcity. And there's also like a limited number that can be created, but it's all just this algorithm. Another thing about crypto is that every transaction is logged on this one CVS receipt. Just like a record of the entire universe of this currency is at the end of every single transaction.
Oh my god.
And I guess that is what makes it secure. I don't know. That's what blockchain. That's what they try to explain it by, is that makes everything transparent.
Yeah.
So that less scams can happen, because all of transactions can be searchable if every single transaction exists within every other single transaction before it.
Well,
Got it.
So the reason this is that's crypto, or that's Bitcoin, and that was it started off fine because it was kind of like esoteric and not very many people were doing it. But the only way for it to work is that the problems kept getting harder to solve. And I think when it was imagined that people would kind of slowly do this in the background of their personal laptops. And there's not really much of an impact on people's days, but people wanted to capitalize on this, so they bought warehouses of computers that had the most expensive GPUs that they could get, and they're just churning on these problems all day. And they set up these camps next to like power stations so they can get it faster or they can
Wow.
get it cheaper, and they're just grinding all day. And it starts over time. It starts to use a significant amount of energy, and because it's exponentially growing how hard it is to mine a Bitcoin. And I guess it's like this, what do you call that, parabola? It's like a curve that like nears an infinite
Mhm.
hardness.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, what's that called?
It gets really hard. It's too hard. It's not worth the effort. It's
My
diminishing
head-
returns.
It's in Mean Girls.
Yeah, it's
the limit
diminishing
does
returns.
not
Blah, blah, blah.
exist.
What?
The limit does not exist.
Yeah.
But anyway, so people are buying better GPU. Like NVIDIA comes out with a GPU that's twice as fast because the speed of information doubles every 2 years, and that's Moore's law. So people buy the more expensive GPUs. They work harder at it, but those more expensive GPUs that are faster also consume more energy, and that's why people have computers that are like underwater. And there's even like mining warehouses that are underwater because it keeps them cool enough because they're consuming so much electricity that they'll melt themselves if they aren't in like a block of ice. And so eventually it's like using half of the power of any like data system. So it's like a significant amount of power. It's the Bitcoin network at the point in 2018 it used as much energy in a day as Argentina used in a day.
Oh my gosh.
And that was in 2018, and it's still kind of doubling in that way. So it's a significant amount of energy, and climate activists have started to respond to this like, hey, can we time out for a second? This is a little concerning, especially since our car is like barreling towards the edge of a cliff. We already knew we
And we're
only had
just
about
fighting over
12
this
years
fake
left
thing.
before-
It's just a fake thing, right? Somebody just made up.
Right. Like it's one thing for Argentina to use that much power because Argentina includes, everything that, schools and so here's another comparison. Bitcoin uses, let's see, I don't know exactly the math, but Ethereum uses the same amount of energy that YouTube does. And Ethereum is much smaller than Bitcoin. So Bitcoin probably consumes like 10 times more energy than YouTube does. And YouTube is a significant amount. It's about that same size as like a few cities. But if you think about how much service YouTube provides,
Mm-hmm.
it makes more sense that it would consume that much. There's 5 billion videos on YouTube that are watched every day, and the majority of those are educational in some way. Entertainment has value in itself too. People are using YouTube for a number of different services.
Yeah.
Like your photo albums,
Mm-hmm.
music,
Chat videos.
cat videos, dog videos, dolphin videos. But if you want to, I mean, a tutorial for learning how to get out of your current financial predicament and financial upward mobility is created from YouTube.
Yeah.
And you can also like quickly look up a video for how to do CPR, for example, or like,
Mhm.
is this okay for my kid to eat?
Yeah.
Like YouTube. YouTube is a lot of the times the answer there. So,
YouTube for the win.
anyway, so in comparison, a service that's doing nothing but counting money using 10 times as much as this service seems a little absurd.
Yeah.
So that's just crypto by itself. But now there's something called the non-fungible tokens. How long have we been talking about this now?
Go.
Keep going. What is
So,
time?
This It's been a while this has been around for a few years. There's been things like Crypto Kitties is a pretty interesting project. It let people kind of breed cats. You log into this site and you like breed a cat with another cat, and it would create a unique cat. And, excuse me. And then you'd have a token that represented a cat, and you could sell that for real money. People were making a good, a few grand if you had like a cat with spots. People wanted that. People want to own unique, rare things. So that was like the first example of that. But it became in the mainstream recently because there was a few artists that made a few $1 million from selling tokens that represented owning their digital work. One of them was Beeple. Beeple is he does pretty similar work in terms of the field of work that I do. He does like concert visuals, and he did a daily project for over 10 years that was like 3D. I guess at this point it's like 3D audiovisual stuff. It started as like sketches and just 3D environments and like gags. He's made a lot of art about Donald Trump, and he'll have like War of the Worlds style robot Hillary Clinton with like baby Donald Trump's like sucking on these robot nipples, the tentacles going everywhere, and that'll be one of his daily projects. So he's a great artist, though. He's been really generous with his assets. He kind of like shows his workflow, and he's been pretty open source about his creative process and shares it a lot. So I really respect him. It's really deserved that he would make that much money. I think he already was making a lot of money because he does really high status content. But he made like $2 million in a weekend from people speculating, buying his art on something called Foundation, I think. I don't know. Maybe it was Nifty Gateway. There's a few different platforms that have popped up recently that are NFT platforms that allow the speculating and trading of digital assets, non-fungible assets. And how do you pay for them? With Ethereum. So that's been in the news recently. A lot more people are getting rich from that. But that's been causing me to debate on Twitter recently. That was your original question, because I'm on the climate change activist side of things, for one thing, and I'm also on the side of digital art being cool because of its duplicatability side of things. I'm kind of I think that I'm an outlier in the sense that I'm kind of anti collections in general, or anti collecting things.
I like that.
Yeah.
How long is that always been? Go ahead, sorry.
No, go ahead. I could go in a lot of different directions now.
I was just going to ask if that's always been your philosophy on, art. So it seems to me like that's more of like art maybe necessarily shouldn't be owned, it should be shared, that kind of thing. Have you always felt that way?
Yeah, I think since I was a kid, I told you that I grew up in or my mom had a used bookstore, so I grew up in a used bookstore. And part of being in that business is that you go through a lot of appraisals of people that died. And I would tag along here, and I would see people's collections of these like really filthy, really horrifying hoarder houses where they died in. And there would be like the stench of a rotting corpse, and there'd also be the stench of towers of porno magazines soaked in cat urine, and these people all thought that they were tricking the system somehow, that they were making an investment that would pay off someday. I think that's the horrifying part of it for me, is that that's what they spent their lives doing, and when they really just, you can't even make it to the bathroom or the kitchen because there's just like stacks of books blocking everything in the house.
Yeah.
And so I guess there's a metaphor there for like, they think they're making an investment, but they're really just destroying the environment that they live in.
I like that.
But
Pretty deep,
anyway,
dude.
yeah. So I think there's a dopamine hit that people get when they acquire something and add it to their collection, and it's like almost like an ASMR type itch that you get from like a lot of shiny similar things in your, I don't know, whatever, Beanie Babies or collectibles or whatever. But I think that maybe I'm not able to feel that because it's overshadowed by my confrontation with mortality. I know I'm not able to take it with me. Yeah, I see more things as clutter than most people probably.
Yeah, that's fair. I like that. How often do you think about death?
Oh, I try to as often as possible, probably once a day during meditation. It's a good time to think about death.
Yeah, same. I try to go to as many funerals as possible. Not because I want to, but I think it's important.
Yeah, it's pretty important.
Yeah.
What about
I took
you
a death
guys?
and dying course in college, and that was pretty important. I would recommend everybody do that.
Yeah, I feel like I really didn't think about it until I met Daddy-O, and he kind of gave me the perspective of, no, this is important to think about. But like, I was taught that, like, to not think that way.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, every day like it's your last, but like it won't be, You have so much to look forward to and live up to. So I'd keep thinking about the future. I would never think about it ending.
Yeah.
But then that guy kind of changed it. I was like, oh yeah, I guess it is important to think about. And
Wait, you were pointing at the T-Rex in a leather jacket.
To that guy right there.
change my mind about that.
Is it because of the asteroid impact?
Giant meteor and your entire species. It's pretty dramatic, would you say?
I hope that they enjoy their life.
Me too.
I hope so. One can hope.
That's really what it's all about.
I agree.
The dinosaurs. We have a lot to learn from dinosaurs.
Yeah.
Anyway.
It's almost midnight here. We should probably end this. We should probably end this thing, but I feel like there's so much more that Thorne can tell us, man. It's just like we could go all night.
This is perfect because like this moment and like all of these words that you're saying like are your streams. Like so you sent us some stuff, right? And then do we want to share that real quick before calling it? Because you're doing like a giant stream soon, right?
Let's talk about
like
that.
Oh yeah. I'm gonna try to do a 24-hour stream later in the month, March 20th, probably starting in the morning on March 20th.
What are you gonna do?
Birthday March 21st. What am I gonna do? Probably a little of everything. I think I'm gonna start off working. Probably play a lot of Tetris and a lot of Jackbox. Probably some VR chat. Maybe
24-hour stream. I love it. Yeah, I think you're like at least showing some of what you shared before ending because it's cool stuff, man.
Okay.
What is this?
Oh, it's being chroma keyed.
Oh, got it.
That's funny. It's being
This is the This is like the end goal of stuff that I work on stream. Sometimes this would be like a composition, and this is a documentation of me like improvising on it.
So we see you down here in the bottom left, and then also in the bottom right. This is how many cameras? You have 2 cameras going, and then this is something. This is your animation that you created here.
Yeah, this is kind of like this is created in the game engine, so it's kind of an animation, but it's more like a visual tool. It's like a visual sequencer that's responding to the audio sequencer that I'm using right in the bottom right camera.
Wow.
Do you have the audio that you can put on there?
We can hear it. You can't. You're not hearing it through Discord, but we hear it on stream.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Okay. Good point. Good point.
So cool.
Show your brain for anyone.
What's that?
Oh. That will take a second.
It's so pleasant to hear too. Look at that. So cool. Now, where are you? Where do you see this? Do you have a screen in front of you?
Yeah. That's pretty much the gist of this one.
That's awesome.
Oh, you just sent us one?
I sent one that was requested in the chat.
So I saw you make this one live. So on this one,
Yeah,
as you're
you did,
pressing the keyboard, right, it's making the art in real time, right?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I'm making like loops on the drum sequencer.
So cool. What?
And he created all of this on stream, on Twitch. So like, I remember he'd be like, "Hey, what do you think about this graffiti? And should we make this trash can look different?" And all of this was created on his channel.
So cool.
It is so cool. Then let's see this one, I guess.
Freaking art, man.
Yeah, it's so cool.
Cat Pixar.
My, this one feels like a trip.
This wasn't created live. This is a culmination of daily process.
I don't know if I can watch this.
Yeah, the construction doing number too.
Oh my.
Yeah, I bet this took a long time.
The actual video probably took like 3 days, but each of those individual animations are a day. So it's a few years. 3 kids, to be honest.
Whew.
I know, I gotta stop. It's an nightmare.
Ow. Whew.
I love it though. That's amazing. Positive suicide. That feels like. Is that what your mind is like?
Yeah, that's why I can't sleep.
Is this you?
No, that's not what my mind is like.
Is this you?
Yeah.
Wow.
This is so I'm like reading a story here, but if you like go like halfway into the video, I think I start playing the drums.
Is this your studio? Is this the dad's studio?
No, this is different. This is a venue. I think this was at like a church. But this was part of a series called Frame that is it invites comic artists to perform their comic strips and
As you're hitting the drums, it's coming up on the thing.
what?
As
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
hitting the drums, it comes up on the screen.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
God, that's so cool.
This was the original vision. Recently I've switched to the drum sequencer because I can get a lot more output that way. But it is cool to do the acoustic drums.
Oh my gosh.
What?
I have little Bezier mics that are connected to the cymbals, and they convert that to the MIDI signal, and then that is converted to.
Lex, we got to go to Chicago and hang out with Thorne.
So, like, please? Do you in these studios or in these venues? Like, is this a thing that you do like as a performance, or how do you get the opportunities?
That's the end result is a performance.
Okay, we need to go to these. So, Daddy-O.
This is amazing. Do you tour, or is it just in Chicago?
I do brief tours. I haven't been on like a giant tours, but I've been on
Yeah,
a
that's
lot.
amazing.
Is Big Dumb Ho Energy in Chicago as well?
Yeah.
So if we come to Chicago, will we all
I
hang
think
out?
so. I don't know. We've never met.
Never met?
Man, we should have a big. Can we have an event at your place?
Hell yeah.
Dude,
Okay, let's.
let's do a Tetris tournament there.
Tell me more. Oh, Tetris tournament? Yeah, I've had Tetris tournaments before.
Great show, drunk.
Yeah.
I'm heading out first.
I met a bunch of
World
I
opens
met a
back
bunch
up.
of game developers because I had a Towerfall Ascension tournament. That's how like,
Drumstick.
the shows really started kicking off with chiptunes shows because I hired I commissioned a bunch of chiptunes artists to provide a soundtrack to a tournament. You guys know about chiptunes?
No.
Chiptunes is music made from the engines of retro game consoles. So a lot of it's made on Game Boys.
Fascinating.
I love
So
it.
it kind of has a retro feel to it. But
Dude, we gotta go. We gotta go to Chicago.
Want to go to this? Like, is there even a talk of reopening though anytime
Yeah.
soon?
I think the vaccination is going pretty well, and I think that I mean, my venue is small, so there was never really that much of a restriction on shows like mine, and not many people come to it anyway because it's like noise shows and like really nerdy stuff. So we're not bringing in the big crowds, so I don't think it's actually that much of a health risk. And I'll probably start opening up again in May, June, or I'll start scheduling stuff, depending on how the next few months go.
I'm so interested in this. I'm a former event coordinator and venue manager, and I want to know this space and your process very, very badly. So,
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah, you were in stage design. Wait, it's not stage design. Stage management.
yeah, I sure was. Yeah, I went from performance. I was a theater major, and then I was a technical, design major, focused in stage management. went into event coordinating, then later venue management. So let's do this, man. I want to go very badly. I was
Yeah.
going to move to Chicago actually in August, but that went south. But
We definitely
I'm
need
so
more event
fascinated.
coordination in general.
What was that?
I need event coordinators.
I'm hiring. I'll go anywhere. So yeah, no, this is fascinating. I'm super curious. I'm very anxious to go, and let's do it, Daddy-O.
Yeah,
Wouldn't
let's
that
do
be
it.
something?
Mm-hmm.
Move to Chicago
Oh,
after
we got
all.
clipped. That's legally binding. We got a
Legally
Twitch
binding.
clip.
Awesome.
Mhm.
Man, all right. Well, this was super fun.
Been 2 hours already?
Yeah, it's been a long time. So I'm actually
Wow.
gonna have to wake up early tomorrow. We're having a big giant party at the Twitch house tomorrow. So Lex
Ooh.
drove here from Arizona, and